Welcome to the Leaderish Podcast, leadership lessons straight up, with your hosts, Dr. Jen and Regina. Hey, Jen, how's it going?
Hey, Regina. It is such a gorgeous fall Friday. I am wonderful. How are you?
I am doing great. It is, you're right, a gorgeous fall Friday out there.
And we have been waiting for this weather in Tennessee for a while in Nashville, and it is here. And I want to go to all the fall things.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's fall break for my kids next week. And we will be doing the zoo and the pumpkin patch, maybe a little miniature golf. I'm only taking 2 days off. They have the whole week off. My niece is coming over to stay with them, but the 2 days that we take off, we're going to go do the best fall things.
Well, we got the zoo all ready for you last weekend.
I know. And you had a great time with your mom.
It was so fun. I think I said, like, we just love animals so much. And it's just, when you're at the zoo, you just want to act like a kid, and so much fun.
What about your Tom Purdom date?
It was so wonderful.
Did you go to Henrietta Red?
Perfect. We did not go to Henrietta Red. We ended up going to a place called Sedona Tap House in Germantown, and sat at the bar and just kind of chit-chatted with the bartender and just had a great time. It was wonderful.
Oh, date night. Yay.
How was your weekend? How was your week?
Oh, my week's been very busy. Oh my gosh, so busy.
But it's Friday.
I know, almost to the point where I just overwhelmed. This morning and yesterday afternoon, I got a lot of stuff checked off my list. So I'm feeling pretty good right now, though.
Checking stuff off the list, especially at the end of the week, is the best feeling ever.
Yes, it is.
Like we said, even if you write it down to check it off, it still feels wonderful. And you still did it.
Yeah, sometimes I write things down after I do them just so that I can draw a box and check it.
Me too. And I also draw the box.
Yes. Our friend Meredith does the same thing. Like, we're always talking about our boxes and checking off our boxes.
That is so funny. It's so gorgeous out. I put the harness on Mr. Bear and we went to the park during lunch and we did a little jog. So it was lovely.
Oh, you're amazing. I mean, I just went to Costco.
Oh, but Costco. I don't know that we've talked about it on the podcast before, but Costco is one of my favorite places. And I know this about you as well.
Yes.
So what was your haul today?
So I got these really great Lucky brand. They're like really thin sweaters, more of a top, but still kind of a thin sweater, I guess. And a couple pairs of leggings with pockets, of course, because that's what obviously you have to do. I don't think I've ever gone to Costco and not bought a new pair of leggings. It's quite sad, actually.
I do that or a skirt.
Oh, the skirts. Oh my gosh. The spring with the skirt buying was out of control.
It was hilarious. But now I know that I need to go get some Lucky sweaters. So maybe I have plans this weekend.
Yes. Well, I got the black and the blue one. So feel free to copy. That is the biggest form of flattery.
Will do. On it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then lots of other stuff, of course. I mean, just, it's crazy. It's crazy how many things I bought.
But did you get a big pumpkin?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The giant pumpkin. I did send you a picture because at the end I have to send a picture of the cart, and there is a giant pumpkin for $5.99. I mean, seriously, that was awesome. That was the deal of the day, I think.
We are going probably to the farmer's market later to get some pumpkins. And I think we carved some last year, but I think we're going to carve some this year too.
You should.
So fun. All righty. Well, happy fall, everyone. And it is time for the drink of the day. So, Regina, what's in your cup this Friday afternoon?
Well, after Costco and I unloaded everything, I decided I needed my Sonic. So I've got my Sonic Peach Unsweet Iced Tea, and it's so delicious.
I love that Sonic Ice. I just heard it when you shook your cup. It's the best. A friend of mine has a Sonic ice machine in her home and built into like her counter or her cabinets.
Yes.
It's the coolest thing ever. I want
Yes. I
one.
have a friend that has one too. What's in your cup?
So I am a little bit of a nerd this afternoon. And
Hmm.
because I made Bear go running with me, I actually have water and liquid IV in my cup this afternoon, which I also actually get at Costco for a hell of a deal compared to what you can even get it on Amazon for.
Yeah. So I went with my neighbor because I don't have a Costco membership. Justin won't let me have a membership. If
I
anybody wants to get
forgot.
me one, please do. So I have to go with other people. I'm at everyone else's mercy. It's like my favorite place.
Well, you
And
can go with me anytime.
I know. Well, we've decided that we need to do a Costco trip
Yeah.
together. And so she also bought two things of the liquid IV. And she's like, this stuff is amazing. So
It
good for you
is.
guys.
I also have a friend that mixes it in drinks, like you would normally do, like a vodka soda, and just put a lemon lime one in there. And it's pretty good and
And you stay
healthy.
hydrated and maybe not so hungover.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe not healthy, but hydrated.
Hydrated. Yeah. Hydrated is healthy, Jen. It's
True.
the new it's the new vegetable.
True story. So I'm basically drinking vegetable.
I love it. I can't believe that we're not drinking drinky drinks today,
I
though, on this
know.
beautiful fall day.
Well, give me approximately 1 hour and
And
that
you're
will be
in.
remedied. Yes.
Got it. Got it.
All
So
righty.
today we are talking about your leadership lesson that you've learned, and I'm super excited to dig into that with you today.
Yeah. So I think I briefly mentioned this in a previous episode, maybe with executive presence, because it's very related. But I think I've learned it in different ways throughout my career, but I've always come back to it. And when you think about meetings, when you think about presentations, when you think about anything really, really early in my career, I tended to, because I'm trained in psychology, that's my master's, that's my undergrad, and psychology is very research based. And so
Mhm.
it is, the data is what the data is, and it's black and white, and you can make inferences on the data, but it needs to be researched and proven. So it's a very kind of linear approach. And so I went into corporate America with kind of that same approach, like, oh, nobody has feelings about this. It just is the data. We all have this understanding that the data is what the data is. And I see you smiling and laughing already. But yeah, so that got me pretty early on in my career when I was presenting some very, very raw data, probably not even totally valid data now that I really think about it, to like a board of leaders that drove part of the business model. And I was presenting raw data
Mhm.
saying, hey, look how good we are in this one area. And I'll say chief leader had not yet. So one, had not seen the data. Two, no one had seen the data, but especially not this leader. And so, here I am standing up presenting, and look where we landed here, and look where we landed here. And what I was trying to focus on was the really good part, but there was also a part that said, oh, we were actually way off on another piece of this data. And the leader stopped me in the middle of my presentation and said, I haven't seen this. This is raw data. This hasn't been validated. We're done. Let's move on. And that was my presentation. I was cut off. I was done. And this person was so frustrated that I think I had to like fight for my job for a little bit. It's like my very first job.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was really, really stunned by that, because in my naive, straight out of grad school mentality, it was, but this is what the data tells us. And we always start with the data. This is what we start with. But
Mhm.
what I neglected is the feelings, emotions, ego, all of that attached to, is it going to be correct or not? And now, 15 years in my career. Like, that's so silly, obviously, but it goes back to reading the room and knowing who your audience is and knowing the implications of whatever it is you're presenting and how important that is. So I think that's my biggest lesson that I learned the hard way early in my career, but I see the importance of it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reading the room, having a pre-meeting if you need to, pre-wiring people if you need to.
Yeah, I would bet too that in academia, they're like people are much more open to just seeing the data because there's probably not a lot of emotion attached to that data, right? But when you are collecting information on a company or people or a program or a product, right? There are a lot of feelings, there's a lot of passions involved, there's preconceived notions, biases, all of that kind of together. And a lot of people really need to work through those biases, preconceived notions, whatever. They've got to work through all the emotion, right? And it's best probably not to have people working through emotions in a room.
Oh, definitely. So two big mistakes I made in that scenario was, one, not having a pre-meeting with the leader to say, hey, here's what I'm going to present. We've not done this before. Do you have any questions about what this is, where it came from, all of that before we go into this meeting? That was a huge mistake. And then number two, just not thinking about how the message would be received in the rest of the room. And I think even the way I presented it was just very, well, here it is. Here's what it says. And this is validated. This is good. This is not, just, okay, here's what it is. And that's just not the way to do things unless you're all saying, hey, let's dig in and just see what it says.
Unless you agree to that ahead of
On the
time.
front end.
Yeah. And so that almost requires a little pre-meet too, to say, hey, we're going to collect this data. Do we want to just look at it and figure out together what it means? Or, should we do some analysis and really and leverage that data in a way for our business or our company or our team, right?
Definitely. And also, like, I think what you're getting at is super important, and it's your approach. What's your approach to how you're going to lead this session or lead this meeting, organize. And I think the more that I learn in my career, your approach and how you set things up in a meeting or the beginning of a project or whatever that is almost more important than what you share afterwards.
I've been in that spot many times. I'm like laughing as I say that because this far into my career, I still find myself in exactly that spot where I have done all of my research. I feel good about it. I have the data, but I haven't done the pre-wiring. I haven't addressed the emotions that come with the message. I haven't addressed the biases that are already in the room about how people feel about whatever it is that we're talking about. And I've gotten myself into a lot of trouble. I mean, even at this part of my career, sometimes I just feel like people should already be there and I don't get them there.
Same. And I think we've talked about this before many times. It's so important.
Yeah.
And, let's just say in whatever company you're a part of, even if it's your own company, and you are responsible for a new project or a new program. I just hit my microphone somehow. I punched it because I got excited talking with my hands.
You are very excited. Your hands are like flailing.
I know. Let's just say you're in charge of a new project or a new program, or you have an idea for a new project or a new program. It can be a leadership development program. It can be a benefits program. It can be IT. It can be operations, anything. The very reason we're saying new, like, let's just say you're in a room and you're talking about this new program. Well, if you have people in there that like stakeholders, well, you have somebody that created the old program. So why is there a need for a new program? You have someone who's like bottom line may be attached to the results of that program. You have somebody that maybe had an idea for a different program. You have all these different stakeholders and all these different people, and you really have to think about where they're coming from, even
Mm-hmm.
if you're presenting data. Like, what do the implications of the data say about people that are in the room or their teams, how they're performing, whatever that is?
Yeah.
People have reactions to it. And so, how can you set up your approach to address the concerns right away of every single one of those people before you get into your presentation, your idea, your program, whatever it is? Because if you don't set up your approach and address those things, all those people in the room are going to be doing is waiting for the moment to share their concern.
Well, you're absolutely right. They're not going to listen
Right.
either. And then you've got battling concerns. So now it is a battle of passions, right? Because everybody wants to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost as a like that's kind of what I think about when I think about the meeting before the meeting.
Yep.
Like you've got to have the meeting, you got to have the pre-wire, you got to have those discussions before you have the actual meeting for the sign off on
Yep.
whatever it is you're presenting, right? It also reminds me of how it takes people several times of hearing something before it really sinks in.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. I have a favorite quote related to that. I don't remember if I've shared it before, but it is the biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has happened.
Wow.
And I believe it's George Bernard Shaw is the quote, or the creator of that beautiful quote, but it is so incredibly true. And
Yes.
our the comms people out in the world are probably going, oh my gosh, yes. Because
It happened
there
to
are
me
times.
today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it happened to me today. And I had a leader, he was kind of sharing with me that he would like to see something different. And I was like, huh, we already do that. And I showed him everything that we do. And he's like, I didn't know that this existed. This is exactly what we needed. And I'm like, well, we've been doing it and we've been taking all the steps that you're talking about. I said, so what you have just told me is that I've done a crap job of communicating with you.
And I feel that way all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, we work with the most amazing and lovely people. He's like, you probably sent it an email. I probably have it. Like, it's my fault. I haven't looked. And I was like, no, no, I've done a crap job of communicating with you on
That's a
this.
real challenge. As much information as we're all getting right now, I don't know if being remote is impacting it more, but we all have, and I know we're getting a little off topic, but we all have chats coming in from the meeting that we're in, chats coming in from our chat server, emails, text messages, and it's just really hard to file it all in the right
Yes.
place and in your system and in your brain and remember it.
Right.
But to the meeting before the meeting point,
Yes.
at a previous company, there was a person in our operations leadership team, which I supported, that every single time I went in to present like an L&D initiative that we wanted to launch, the same person would derail the train way, way, way over. And I could never in that meeting get to where I needed to get consensus to get a yay or nay. So I'd have to come back to the meeting, and I was not doing a great job because I couldn't go, like I couldn't get the work done because I couldn't get agreement,
Right.
because this person would go off on a different path, I'll say. So what I finally started doing, and this has helped me in my career since then, is I would meet with that person and, hey, you seem to be really passionate about this topic, about leadership development, about all of this. I'd really love to brainstorm and get your thoughts. What do you think about this? Before I took it to the ops leadership meeting. And then
Mm-hmm.
that person was able to share, to get it all out, to share. And sometimes it was really great input because the
Yeah.
person was passionate. We added it in to the program, the great ideas. And then by the time we got in the meeting, that person was now a raving fan rather than a detractor, you might
Right.
say, and had some buy-in and actually sort of became an evangelist, helping me sell it to the team instead of taking it off the rails. And that was a huge, huge lesson learned for me as well in how you set up your approach. And when you read the room, when you have that person and sometimes with this person, they just really loved the subject and really like got energized by all of this, but that energy came out in, but what if we did this instead? But what if we did this instead? But what if we did this instead of like, oh my gosh, I have 5 minutes and you've used it all and I've gotten nowhere. Now we were aligned, we came in and then we could get the agreement that we needed. And that was a big important lesson for me to learn.
And you're so good at that today.
Really?
Oh my gosh. You are the best at making sure that the sequencing with the right people at the right time to get to whatever that final point is. You are so good with that. Like every time I need help with that, you're the one that I call.
You know what's funny? It all goes back to the story I shared about like, I was, in a U-shaped room of 30 people sharing some really important information and got shut up. Like, as in, stop talking, we're done.
There was a lot of emotion in that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I could share lots of stories about that. It was a wonderful job. It was shaped who I am. Still have lots of wonderful relationships. And I don't blame that person. It was me that didn't know. I just didn't understand. I just didn't understand how important the context and the approach was and getting buy-in with your whoever your stakeholders that you need to be aligned with before a big meeting like that. I just didn't have a clue. I was 25. Like I didn't know. But I would say I am so intentional about it now because I learned in such a hard, painful way, even to the point where afterwards, people were coming up to me, you handled that so well, Jen. I'm so sorry that happened. Like, and I was mortified and it was awful, but you live and you learn. I survived. And now I am like a stickler for, is there somebody in this meeting that has no idea what we're talking about and is going to be blindsided? Because you never want that to happen.
Right. That is incredible. It also reminds me of something that my coach and I were working on. So I, like many people, have a bit of a fear of failure, and like failing is not an option.
Yep.
And she really helped me reframe with an acronym for the word fail.
Oh.
And it's from all I learned. FAIL, from all I learned.
Talk about that a little bit. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So I love this. It's actually on, nobody else can see this, but it's on a post-it note. It's right here in bold letters, the word fail, and then from all I learned next to the FAIL. And what this really means for me is that learning really takes place when you fail. So in order to move forward, in order to grow, some sense of failure can help that. And not that I'm forcing myself to fail. I don't want to do that, but to reframe my brain that failure is actually a lesson that I've learned is a really big deal.
I just wrote this down.
I see your green Post-it note.
A Post-it note as well.
From all I learned.
That's very, in alignment with Silicon Valley and technology in general, the fail fast kind of mentality. Mentality. I learned that at a previous company, but we have it at our current company as well. We talk a lot about that. And I think being a leader, creating an environment where it's safe to make mistakes. I know we've talked about that before, but I didn't have that environment which is why it was so painful for me to learn that at a
Yeah.
young age. At least it wasn't the forum to make a big mistake like that.
Yeah.
But how, as a leader, how can you create an environment where your team can make safe small mistakes, so they have parameters? And I think
That's
this
right.
goes right back to another conversation that we've had, because that's how you can still learn and grow
Right.
in a safe space and not be at risk for losing your first job.
I think about where maybe I would be and how I might be different if a leader had said that to me when I was just getting started.
That's so true. And as a leader, how you respond when your team does make a mistake.
That's right.
If there's a mistake that has visibility from like a leadership team or senior leadership team, are you a buffer to kind of take the heat a little bit? And then do
Mm-hmm.
you help that person grow and
Right.
understand that it was a mistake, but that it's okay and we're going to do better next time? And here's how, or come to, let's create a plan for how we're not going to do that again. Or do you take that heat and do you give it right down the chain?
Right.
You
I'd
know,
say no. I'd say you don't
right.
do that. I mean, that's part of being a
Agree.
leader, right?
Agree.
You have to take it. You have to be accountable for your team, and then you have to help your team grow.
Definitely. Speaking of mistakes, one reason why I'm not at a certain previous company, but it's all about the people. I want to
Yes.
know that my leaders and my leaders' leaders have my back and
Mm-hmm.
know that I have good intent. And I was talking to another business support area about something that was coming down the pike. And I guess it was confidential, but both of us knew, and it was important in the meeting that we were having for that awareness, because it was about that thing.
Yeah.
But innocently, the person that I was working with asked their leader a question about it, who then went to my boss's boss and said, how the hell does Jen know about this, essentially? And why is she going around blabbing about it? And then not only did my boss's boss not have my back, we both got like a scathing, very unprofessional email about that thing, when
Wow.
it was two leaders like not having their people's backs
Yep.
about two people just trying to get something done in difficult circumstances. And that was kind of one of the nails in the coffin for me to say, nope.
This isn't the right culture for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's a lot going on in that story too, because there's probably some politics, there's probably
Yes,
competition going on, there's probably some personality differences. The
for
sad
sure.
thing is that you and the other team member got caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, big time. And as a leader, like, you can be that buffer. And there's a balance, because you don't want to shelter someone so much that they don't understand the real world, and
Right.
that there are implications and that there's a bottom line and all of those things. But if you have the right culture and the right leadership culture and the right people with the right intentions, then you can be the leader to allow your team members to grow and safely make mistakes.
That's right. Wow. Man, this conversation took a very interesting turn.
It did.
Loved it.
Me too.
What would you say that our listeners should do in the next 24 hours based on all of the amazingness that we have just discussed?
So I would say in the next 24 hours, think about something that you're going to be sharing or presenting, whether it's a formal presentation or whether it's just sharing information, whatever that is. And just think about those that are going to receive the information and what's their perspective and where they're coming from, and
Mm-hmm.
see if that might shape how you approach that situation a little bit differently,
I
and think
love it.
about your setup.
I love it. That's great.
I
Have the
think
meeting
that would
before the
be,
meeting if you need to.
if there's one person that really may want a little bit more time to digest information, reach out to them first. And like Regina said, have the meeting before the meeting.
Yep. I love it.
All
Good
right.
stuff.
Yeah,
So,
that was really good.
yeah. So, Jen, what are you doing to fill your cup?
we are getting a puppy.
Bubby.
I know. We lost our sweet Bella in June, as you all know. And it's taken a little bit for me to get on board, but we have reached out to where we got Bear from. And so we will be getting a puppy. Puppy should be born around the end of this month. And the crazy story is it is a litter of one. We
Wait,
found
what?
out. Did I not tell you that?
No, I didn't even know that was possible. I
I
thought
didn't either.
isn't there normally like 6, 7, or 8 pups?
The last time
Sometimes 9?
yeah, there were 11 last time with this specific mom, golden retriever mom. And for whatever reason, this is a litter of one, and we had already reached out. So we have, priority. So we won't know if it's going to be a boy or a girl until it's born. I know. Isn't that funny?
Oh my gosh. And it's going to be a Christmas pup. It's going to come home around Christmas.
The week before Christmas.
Oh, and that's so good because we have so much good flexibility and we'll be off for a couple weeks
I know.
and you'll be able to spend time with you
wait.
and the pup. Oh, I can't
So
wait. I can't wait for the puppy kisses and puppy breath.
Oh, I know.
love puppy breath.
So it will either be Thor, long golden hair,
Of course.
and there's a Mets player who's nicknamed Thor as well, or it will be Dolly and have my Dolly shirt on today as well.
I love it. I love it. I drove by Dolly Parton's house today.
Oh, fun.
Yes, on the way back from Costco. And my neighbor was like, have you ever seen her? And I was like, did I never tell you about the time where Dolly almost wrecked into me?
What?
Yeah, for real. So I was like 17 years old. I mean, her house growing up was less than a mile from mine. And so I was kind of coming off of our main road. And I think I was turning right and she was turning left with either her husband or her driver. I can't remember which one. And they came close, like within inches of hitting me because they turned left kind of too soon.
Oh, wow.
Down the road. And all you see is, I mean, I couldn't hear her, but you could see the panic and the, I'm sorry, and the shaking hands. And you could see her mouth over and over going, I'm sorry, as they kind of drove off. For living a mile away from her for 30 years, that's the only interaction I ever had with her, although she does spend most of her time in Pigeon Forge.
Does she still?
Yes. But her husband does live here in Nashville. He still lives in a house that is quite a replica from Tara, the plantation and Gone with the Wind. And then I'm a Gone with the Wind fan, but across the street is a neighborhood called 12 Oaks, which was the neighboring plantation in Gone with the Wind.
Huh. Did not know that. Is that in Gallatin by chance?
No, it's in Brentwood.
Is it in Brentwood? Okay. I'm thinking of Reba's house, maybe. I can't remember. That's crazy. I'm a big Dolly fan. I've always been a big Dolly fan, even before she became, I guess, super popular again for like the younger generation a few years ago. But there's a place in Nashville called White Limousine it's like the rooftop of some boutique hotel, but it's all Dolly stuff.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go there.
I haven't been, so I'll go with you.
Oh, we should go together. Okay,
deal.
Yeah, that'll be great. Well, I love Dolly Parton and we love her Imagination Library. So if you are listening and you live in an area where they will send you books, Dolly Parton will send free books every month to your kid from birth to 5 years old.
It's amazing. Books from birth in the Imagination Library. It's awesome.
Yeah, free. Like it's all her charity. And your first book is like the little engine that could, but then like your second or third book is usually a book that was written by her called I Am a Rainbow.
Oh, that's so cute. I didn't know that. That's adorable.
Yes, we love that. We love that.
Well, what are you doing to fill your cup?
I don't know. I've been thinking about this. I don't really know. That's kind of
some time off next week.
Problem. Yeah. Like, and I'm doing that to spend some time with the kids, and that's going to be great. Today is Justin's birthday, so we're making
happy birthday, Justin.
I know. And I'm hoping that we'll go golf, which is one thing I don't think that I've shared with the podcast. I have been doing a lot of golfing with my husband, and Hence the reason all of those spring skirts have come in very handy because I wear them every weekend on the golf course.
I love that. We still have to go like golfing together.
I know. Because Tom Purdom and Justin Towdy would have a blast golfing together.
They would. I actually think that it's kind of perfect on a beautiful weekend like this not to know what you have planned because I mean, you could get into anything. Sounds wonderful.
Agreed.
I love it.
Well, Jen, you want to tell them how to contact us and how to slide into our DMs?
Yes, you can slide into our DMs at Instagram and Facebook at Leaderish Podcast. Send us an email, leaderishpodcast@gmail.com. And you can find our link tree and find us in all the places as well. And is it too basic to cheers to fall?
That is not too basic.
Agree.
Cheers to fall, pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin anything and everything. Cheers, Jen.
Cheers.